Welcome, everyone, to Petals Bloom Live. And as always, well, since I started this Q&A live, at the end of every month, the last Monday, I will be answering some of the questions that you all have submitted, or persons who are either um, on my email subscriber list, who receive my newsletters, or persons from here, which generally coincides. So I'm excited about today's topics. I think they are really good questions. And if you want to just say hi and where you're from, that would be great. Today was pretty hectic. I visited one of my cousins who was here for a very short time. So that was good. It was not my plan at the beginning of the day. No. It was not my plan yesterday morning, but after thinking about it, I knew that she was going to leave tonight. So I said, okay, I am going to visit. So that took some time, but we have to remember that relationships are very important. And I remember we spent so much time together as children. Hey, hi, Cassie from Philadelphia. And I've been to Philadelphia and I liked it. I've visited some of my relatives there. Philly. hmm I think I like the US generally. I've had a good experience. I've been to Colorado, New York, Atlanta, Philadelphia, New Jersey, um, South Dakota. Where else have I been in the US? In terms of, I think that might be it that I could think of at the moment. Yeah, I've traveled to quite a number of countries, at least 30 countries I've been to. Yeah, and many of them I visited several times. Like, of course, Jamaica, I've been there many times because I lived there. Plus, I'm married to Jamaica now. And I went to Colorado because my organization has conferences there, and I used to go there for trainings and for the conferences. So I've been to Colorado for like 6 weeks. It's really been good. And yeah, I've been all over. Suriname, I've been to like 9 times. I love Surinamese food. So at one season of my life, I traveled quite a bit. And I remember, like, I think like a time there was maybe 1 month, 1.5 weeks. I think I went to Grenada, Belize, and might have been Barbados. Yeah, in about a week and a half, it was like just hopping on a plane. And from traveling regularly, I began to understand how to pack a smaller suitcase. So when I became like a real pro at traveling, I only carried a small carry-on bag. I mean, that was a big thing for me because before I had a carry-on bag and a regular size check luggage because you need to have everything matching every single day, different colors and earrings to suit each outfit. And then I was like, okay, no, this cannot work, especially when I began to travel like far countries and with other people, and you don't necessarily want to be able to have to collect the luggage, and that will delay the entire process, and you might miss the next leg of the flight. So I learned to travel with one carry-on bag. Yeah, those were good times. I enjoy traveling. So, Cassie, which part of the world would you like to go to? Which country? I think I want to go to, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii and then like the Fiji Islands. Yeah. I think I really would love to go there. I just like traveling on the whole. I think you just learn a lot about different countries. Better than just reading. I remember reading that one of the best uses of your finances is for experiences and not necessarily possessions. because experiences enrich your life and it just changes you. You have wonderful memories. Whereas something you just buy it, excited initially, and then it loses its charm eventually, and then you have to get something else to give you that high. And yeah, so I'm big on experiences, and I've thoroughly enjoyed my season of travel. And I stopped traveling as much because I was doing an EMB. Yes, so Cassie said around the world trip. Woo! Every stop, what? But immediate. Next one's Brazil, Japan, Italy, and Morocco. Yeah, I've only been to Brazil. I've been to Brazil like 2 or 3 times. I have not been to Japan, Italy, nor Morocco. Yeah, but you just never know where life will take you as we just live for God and He just opens up doors that we never knew. Um, you never even thought about it. I never knew I'd be traveling the world. Need my husband to show up first, though, so we can travel together. Or you could meet him while you're traveling. You just never know. He might not even be in your country. Yay! All right. So let us get into today's discussion. Now, as I said, today's Q&A, and I will tell you from the beginning the 3 questions that I'm going to answer. Yeah, Cassie, good point. Excuse me. Can a woman make the first move? How am I to know the difference between a good but imperfect man of God versus a man with genuine red flags that I need to avoid? And what are some things I should know before I get into a relationship? So, whoo. Now, if you can give your opinion, at least in the chat, can a woman make the first move? So I would love to have your opinion. If you could type a little fast, because there's a delay in the internet. So by the time I finish your point now, I probably might see some of your comments. But you can give and feel free to give your comment if it is whatever it may be. Now, I think it depends on what you mean by the first move. Now, these questions, all 3 of them, were submitted by someone named Crystal, and I'm so glad that she submitted these things so that I have Q&A questions to answer. so if it's just being friendly to a guy, even if a guy that you're attracted to, a guy that you would like to know, yeah, I was about to say, please define first move. Yes, so that you're on the same page then. And I just feel like we need to treat guys as just he's just another human being deserving of attention, deserving of support, of love, of kindness, of just being seen. And there's nothing wrong, even if your motive is you really would like to start talking with him because you're attracted to him. It doesn't matter what the motives are, whether you just feel like, he's not your type, he is your type. It doesn't matter. I feel like it is important for us to understand that all men, are made in the image and likeness of God, and therefore they are deserving of respect, they're deserving of kindness, etc. All right? We should treat at least all human beings, even like I think we should treat vagrants and homeless people with a certain level of dignity because they are really made in the image and likeness of God, and not just treat them like if they're like dirt under our feet. So similarly, or not necessarily similarly, but a man that you're interested in, just treat him like a normal human being, like you would a brother, like you would a friend, and just be kind. Say hi, you can smile. I'm big on smiling. I think it's like the number one attraction factor for a woman. It's not our makeup, it's not our hair, etc. But a smile is totally winsome. So smiling, saying hi, giving giving a sincere, kind compliment. Like, say, for instance, if he's wearing a shirt that you find really looks good on him, you can say, gosh, that shirt really looks good on you. Without, I mean, you could say that to anybody. You can say that to your brother. You can say that to your a friend in church. You can say that to several people, and they might just take it as a kind compliment. But for a guy who might be interested in you as well, he might think as, oh, maybe she's interested in me. But you could have said that to your cousin, your your brother, your father. All right. So giving a neutral kind of compliment. Okay. Like, I wouldn't necessarily compliment him on like a body parts and say, oh, your abs, you look so chiseled. Now that is a little more flirtatious. But complimenting a guy on his tie or his shirt or his haircut, I mean, I think those things are safe. Yeah. Okay. So we have to remember, as I said, that all human beings are worthy of some common decency by all of us. And it's just very kind. I think it's just wise. If you have the opportunity, just be kind towards him. Like I was thinking of the, in my phase of not being married and just wondering what is happening. Like the guys who I was just like normal with, they met several of them were the ones who were interested in me, and the ones who I was so timid and so shy around, they probably thought I was arrogant and haughty, and nothing was reciprocated because of course they probably didn't think I liked them in any case. And the ones that I was just easy and cool and free with, some of them are the ones who were really, really interested in me. So it just goes to show, just be yourself. If you're a friendly type of person, continue to be friendly toward a guy that you are interested in, that you're attracted to. Now, if you mean if you should make the first move by asking a guy to out on a date, I would say no, no. Asking a guy to be in a committed relationship with you, I will also say no. Asking a guy to marry him, I will also say no. That I'm old school. And sometimes some of our old school principles are what made some of the old school marriages work. Whereas today we have marriages rampant in the world and in the church. And maybe we need to go back to some of those principles because it's not about who makes the first move. It's a principle behind it. And you know why? Okay. Yes. So now you want, like I did a video on if you should pursue a man, and if you haven't looked at it as yet, I would invite you and encourage you to look at that video. Now, one of the reasons that I am very big on men making the first move in those three instances is that, one, it is the model of Jesus. Jesus first loved us. Okay, he is the one who pursued us, and a man a man of God is supposed to be leading us like Christ. He's our head, and Christ is his head. I mean, Christ is our head as well, and Christ is the role model. He is the model of godly and manly leadership. And if Christ pursued us, then a man of God needs to get some courage and some power, by the Holy Spirit, to give him some nerve to pursue that woman that he is interested in. All right. So first of all, the model is Christ and what he has done. He's our standard, and he's a man standard. Okay. And Christ is the head of the church. We are the bride of Christ. All right. You see the correlation? You see the parallel? So therefore, a man of God needs to be the one to pursue. Secondly, it's the same thing with headship. The man needs to be the head of the family. Okay. And from the early stages of a relationship, you are laying the foundation of your marriage, whether you believe it or not. Oh, hey, Jonathan and Cassie, you're talking about cheese steaks. Jonathan. Yes. So, from the early stages of a relationship, you want to set a proper foundation, a proper tone, whether you get married to that person or not. That is, you just don't know. So, start the foundation properly in the first place. Okay. And you don't want to rush the process of, you don't want to take away something from a man that belongs to him. And you don't want to rush the process. If he's not ready to make a commitment to you, he's not ready to ask you to be in a relationship, or ready to ask you to be on a date, or ready for your hand in marriage, do not rush a man. Do not give him ultimatums. If it's going on for too long and he's not asking you to get married, you just need to decide, okay, I'm not going to continue this relationship. Um, Maybe just let him know, but don't be giving a man an ultimatum, because that's controlling. And I have done that, so I could tell you, do not do it. All right. So I have here, don't rush the process with a man. If he really wants to be with you, if he's an adult man who is ready to be in a committed relationship, he will get the courage to pursue you. And I will always say, even the shyest guy on the face of the planet, if he has his sights on a woman and he does not want to lose that woman to another man, believe you me, he will get that courage to tell her something about it. Okay. And so don't fall into the belief that, oh gosh, I need to help him more because he's so shy, he's so timid. Well, then he's not ready for a relationship. Okay. So a healthy man enjoys the adventure of the catch and of pursuing and winning the heart of a woman. That's just how God has made men. And don't take away that from a man. You will be doing yourself a disservice. Hi, Nisha. Hey, welcome to the first live. So a man may not be there for 3 reasons I came up with, although other men joining could let me know if there are other reasons why a man will not make the first move in terms of asking you for a date, in terms of asking you to be a committed relationship with him if you're already talking, or asking you for your hand in marriage. Maybe he's not ready for a relationship and he's not ready for marriage, and don't force him. Secondly, he's not sure that he wants to choose you. He's not sure that he wants to be with you. And give him that space to decide if he wants to be with you or not. Or he's been hurt severely by another woman, or disappointed with relationships on the whole, and he's in the repair mode phase of life. And in that case, he is not ready. He's not in a position for a relationship in any case. All right. So don't even bother to ask him and make the first move in that instance. So he's either not ready at all for anybody, or he's not the right one for you or ready for you. Whatever it is, leave it in the hands of the good Lord. And part of being in a relationship too, as a woman who wants to be pursued, the receiver, is that we have to trust God. As women of God, we need to trust God in His timing and don't force things to happen. Like we could learn a lot from those women in the Old Testament, and even Sarah and Abraham. They got a little, God had given them the promise, but they got a little impatient. And then Sarah said, take my maidservant and go and have sex and let her be a concubine and have a child. And now we have a sort of a major chaos in the world many years later because of not waiting on God. So let us wait on God. All right. And God is quite able to cause a man to, if he's the man for you, God is able to work on his heart and help him to make that move. And you don't need to control the situation and make it happen in your timing. Trust, pray about it, and trust God that if that guy is for you, he will have the nerve to say something and do something about it. Leave it up into God, leave it into God's hands, and you just be your very best self. Be the kind of woman that he might be interested in wanting to be in his life in any case. So you are responsible for growing yourself, and let him be responsible for the one to seeing you and wanting to win your heart. Don't just take away that freedom. So give the man the freedom to choose. You don't want a man to choose you because he didn't want to hurt your feelings. Because you've been talking for a while, perhaps, and he is thinking, okay, well, she's asked me to be in a relationship. Well, she's a good person, and there's nobody else around at the moment. Maybe I could say yes. You don't want to be a man's last resort. You want to know that you have been chosen by him. So marriage will require courage for a man to lead you and to lead a family. Gosh, boy. All of a sudden, this mosquito just came in front of my face. All right. So and it is best that he has the courage to lead a woman from the beginning of the relationship. I'm so tempted to kill that mosquito just landed on my computer. All right. So at the end of the day, when a marriage faces trials, and it will face trials, you want to know that the man that you have married has chosen you. And also, if a man has the courage to pursue you, there's something in you that begins to admire and respect a man like that. So sometimes we just really want this particular, a woman might just really want this guy and then make it happen. And then later down in life, when things get difficult and um, her eyes are open about marriage and what it takes, then she ends up beginning to loathe that guy because he's not the man she hoped he would be. He is maybe too afraid, too timid. She finds that he is just like the children. She has to just, that she's the one who has to continue leading the relationship, and therefore she will get tired and disappointed. So, ladies, take it from me as a married woman of close to 6 years and being around lots of married couples, and most of them have good marriages. Let the guy lead from the early stages of the relationship, and you will be in a better position. You are giving him the best chance to be a successful husband and father, and you will be very happy that he chose you and pursued you, regardless of his fears, regardless of his rejection issues of the past with other women, whatever it may be. He overcame all of that to choose you. You will feel like $1,000,000 and more. All right. So, yes, Nisha said some men to be moving in slow motion. Yes, some men move in slow motion, and for all kind of reasons. But I agree with your point on trusting God for sure. And people might be moving in slow motions for all kinds of reasons. Now, if the guy is very much battered by life and circumstances and he has trauma, he is not in a position to be in a relationship or to get married. So maybe he should really just move slow. And you just need to know if you're going to move slowly with him or just be open to other guys and a man who might be ready. Like one of my friends, he had said that he was ready to get married, and he decided to put things in place for like about a 2-year period to get himself ready for marriage because he was interested in getting married soon. And that's a responsible man, an adult man. Are you ready to get married? Let me start putting things in place because when I meet that person, I want to be ready. And then Cassie says, you shared this in the past, so apologies to ask again. What's your advice on Christian dating apps? How would you define first move in that context? Yeah, that's a really interesting situation. I have myself been on eHarmony. And I mean, just like I guess what I said at the beginning, there's nothing wrong with saying hi, how you doing, where you're from, or just a little chit chat. So just like I would do with any guy right now that I'm more mature. I'm just befriending people. I just want to be friendly. I want to be kind. I want to just show the light of Jesus to people. If they become disrespectful, then I'll have to, make it straight, make it right. But in general, I think the guys that I have met in life are decent. Even the guy who has me my groceries, I am like good friends with one of them. No, not good friends, but you know, because I see him regularly, he has with my groceries, I give him a little tip, but because I see him regularly, we've become a little friendly. And it's fine. It's like, how you doing? How's your Christmas? And I'm not interested in him, not interested in me. But we are just being like human beings and being pleasant toward one another. Yes. So in terms of dating apps, definitely you can be high, but you don't necessarily have to say, okay, let's get together, let's meet in person. No, if he's interested, let him say he wants to um have a date with you, a physical date with you. Let him be the one to express his interest and his growing desire to get to know you. Don't take that away from him either, even if it's online. And interestingly enough, I know three persons personally who met their, well, two married and one is I guess a living situation, and they met those persons in on a dating app, and they've been together for at least all of them at least maybe like 4 years, 5 years, and one could be together maybe in about maybe 15 years or something like that. So not only creeps are on dating apps, there are good men and good women on using dating apps. So I am okay for it. It's not my default, it's not my number one choice, but it is nothing devilish. It is nothing it's just a useful tool of meeting persons. But the same principles that you would apply in real life, you need to take it with you and not just giving like things like being very wise with your kind of conversations, the things that you share with someone, especially someone you have not met physically as yet. Just not going too deep too quickly, because you could end up falling in love or thinking that you're in love with someone who you hardly even know, and you could spend like in a matter of 2 weeks or under a month, you could just think that you are fully engaged and you're ready to commit your heart and life and your bank account to someone who's relatively a stranger that nobody else in your life knows. So I have videos on that. Please check them out, and articles, so that you will be very careful and wise when you are using online apps to meet someone. Okay, so I hope I answered your your question, but I would recommend just going into my videos on that and even my articles. And for some of you all who may not know, I do have a blog with over 130 articles at the moment. It's www.petalsbloom.com, and you can check out, and I have a tab or a page marked all articles. You can just click on that and you can see all the articles and the links if you're interested. I mean, I have many articles on all kinds of topics, and mainly about relationships with guys, but I have things on friendships, all kinds of things. So this helps. I have a friend who is adamant that you clicking first sets the tone that you will end up leading the entire relationship. I agree with you. And that's just a tool, and the right man will lead. Yeah, man, just being high like you would. Imagine if you go to speed dating or some singles event, which is geared towards people meetings. Nothing is wrong with saying hi, because you're there to meet someone. That is the reason. Right? So there's nothing wrong with making the first move in terms of, hi, how you doing? Like your picture, or like your the hobbies that I personally don't think anything is wrong with that. Now, asking for a date, asking to be in a relationship, asking for his hand in marriage, that is a whole different thing that I do not necessarily agree with. Alrighty. So if we have no more questions on that, now, if you come up with something after I move on, feel free to put it in the chat and I could get to it when I return. And for those who just came on, welcome, welcome. And you can just say hi in the chat if you so if you're so desire, if you're okay with that, that would be great. So the next question is, how can I know the difference between a good but imperfect man of God versus a man with genuine red flags that I need to avoid? Now, I like this question because people could get a little confused. Hey, Kezia. People could get a bit confused on, uh, what should really make you run from a guy and what should make you say, okay, maybe it's just a flaw that we can work, that he's working on, and that we could work on together in the future, because you will not meet a perfect guy. So all of you all who are just, you have this unrealistic long list, please, as I said in the past, determine your negotiables from your non-negotiables and settle with marrying a man who is imperfect, but a man who knows God and is loving God and growing in his walk with the Lord. This growth is lifelong. Sanctification is a lifelong process. All right. So you have to learn to accept a man as he is, just as you want him to accept you as you are, with all your flaws, with all your good points, all your assets. It's mutual. We have to learn to accept one another and love one another in spite of. Okay. So my advice is that there are certain qualities in the scripture that will tell us that these are the qualities that you need to avoid. All right. And in my eyes, a good marriage comprises two imperfect people committed to one another and committed to growing together for the long haul. So the Word of God gives insight in some of these qualities that you do not want in a spouse. So one of them is a proud and arrogant man. Now, if God says these things about a proud and arrogant man, and throughout the entire Bible, it talks against a proud, a haughty spirit, arrogance. These things are throughout the entire Bible, okay? So let me just I'm going to read two for you. 1 Peter 5:5 says, God resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. Right? So imagine if God resists the proud, why are you going toward a proud man? You need to resist him too. And then Proverbs 29:23 says, a man's pride will bring him low, but the humble in spirit will retain honor. Now, you are going to walk with a man. Are you going to walk with a man who is proud and arrogant and will, when he goes low, when he brings shame on himself, you are going down too? Now, why would you do a thing like that for yourself? Whereas a humble man, a teachable man, is a man who will be given grace by God and a man who will retain honor. That is the man you want to align yourself with, right? A humble man. Another thing is you want to avoid an angry man. Veronica, say amen. Welcome, Veronica. All right. So Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger quiets contention. Mhm. And that hot-tempered man, I think about Abigail's husband, who he lost his life, and then David married Abigail. Now, he was a foolish man, and because of Abigail, she saved the entire situation. And then Proverbs 15:18 says, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man do not go, lest you learn his way and set a snare for your soul. So all of these women who are being enticed by abusive men, these are angry men. These are men that do not need to be in your life. These are men you need to pray from afar. At distance. It's not to hold hands with them and Lord, change them. Lord, you see his childhood trauma. Fix him, Lord. Oh God, you are God of... No. That man needs to be pointed to a counselor. That man needs to deal with his anger issues with other men. He does not need to be in a romantic relationship at this point in time. So please leave those angry men alone. All right? They are not ready. They're not in a position to be in a relationship with anybody. So if God says this about an angry, make no friendship with an angry man, therefore, it follows, you cannot marry an angry man. You should not marry an angry man. All right? The third point is a man who is greedy for gain. I'm sure that you didn't think that would have been there, but that's the wisdom is from God's word. It says here in 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. So no, a lot of times women see, I want to be with an ambitious man. Now you have to watch that, because his ambition for riches and wealth could very well lead to the destruction of your marriage. How many CEOs and persons that we know of who are very rich, very wealthy, and their marriages have ended in shambles, or they have in several marriages because of their greed, their greediness for money. All right. So if you are aligning yourself with someone who is greedy for gain, then just know for certain that he possibly, according to the word of God, most likely will stray from the faith, because he has to use all of his time, his energy, efforts, everything to make money, to the sacrifice of his walk with the Lord, to the sacrifice of his family. Okay? And it says he will pierce himself through with many sorrows. So if he is being pierced and you are one with him with many sorrows, guess what will happen? You will also pierce yourself with many sorrows. You will be pierced with him. And you don't want that. Okay? So let us go into God's word and see the qualities that we need to avoid, and not just think that, oh my goodness, he's such a wonderful man, he would provide wealth for me. And there's more to life than just wealth and prosperity. No, there are other things that also more important, like building God's kingdom. All right. So as John said, if you're feeling what's being said, remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and my Irresistible Godly Woman checklist. Subscribe for it, and you will get my weekly newsletter. And overall, I just finished reading Titus. And as I kept on reading over and over again, I was like, if we look at the qualities of an overseer and trust God for men like this, we'll have better marriages. So let me read what Titus 1:7-9 says. It says, "For an overseer, as God's servant, must be above reproach. He must not be arrogant." See that? Arrogance come out there again. Or quick-tempered. That angry man. Or a drunkard. Okay? So you don't want a man addicted to rum, to alcohol of any form. You don't want to be a man who is just burdened by addiction because he is enslaved. Or it says, or a violent man, as the angry man again, or greedy for gain, which I just mentioned. But he must be hospitable, a lover of good, self-controlled, upright, holy, and disciplined. Okay? And some of these things will even will be clear when it comes to a stance on sexual purity, which I am very big on. So if you meet a Christian guy who has no self-control in the sexual area, he's in the category of unholy and undisciplined or indisciplined. And he lacks self-control. All right. And he's not upright. And he's not a lover of good. So that guy is a warning sign right there. No, his flesh is leading him, and therefore he is not the man for you. At least not right now, until the Lord changes him and begins to sanctify him, but he has to be willing. All right. It says, yes, he must hold firm to be trustworthy. Listen, he must hold firm to the trustworthy word. Oh gosh, he must hold firm to the word of God. He must hold firm to the trustworthy word as taught, so that he may be able to give instruction in sound doctrine and also to rebuke those who contradict it. Now, that's a man of courage. A man who is strong enough to say, these are my convictions, and I am going to stand strong and defend it, even against persons who may say otherwise. Okay, so these are the qualities that you want in a man to be your husband. And thankfully, I know a lot of men who are like this, including my husband. And these are the men who people look for to place as leaders in the church. Okay, because they have proven themselves to have that kind of character. So ladies, check out Titus and check out some other descriptions of elders and deacons and the criteria, and maybe put those things on your to-do list, not to-do list, your wish list for your future husband and start praying that God, Lord, help him, whoever it is, help him to grow in this area, Lord. Help him to be disciplined, help him to be holy, help him to be upright, to be self-controlled. And you just pray for him even before you meet him. All right. So, ladies, you're looking for a man who's actively becoming a godly leader for God Himself, and and also a God leader in your family. All right. Hello, IPR. Welcome, welcome. This is such a great tip. Cassie says, great wish list. Yeah, and that's from the Bible. You don't have to be overthinking it. It's right there. All right. IPR says this live is so timely. I recently made accounts on dating after the first time and I matched with a few people, but I want the men to send me a message first. So far, no one has. Yeah. And of course, I recommend being a paid subscriber, okay? Maybe at least 6 months or 1 year. Give it a try and invest some money in it so that you can be sent proper information and that you could begin to exchange information, see the person's picture, the person can see you, because you get a lot more features when you pay as opposed to just using your free version. All right. So please pay for the apps that you're trying to meet people on. And don't forget, there's Facebook as well, eh? And you don't have to pay for that. So I think that might actually be a good place to meet persons, friends, and relatives of your friends. Because then you could spy and then you could ask questions and you could see where the community overlaps. So, say for instance, you are scrolling and you see a guy makes a really good comment on a post of somebody who's on your friend list. You can click on that person's profile and look and see if he's in a relationship, if he's married, and what you can do, since not your friend as yet, maybe you could reply to the comments that he made and say, that's a good point. That's interesting. I never thought about it that way. You just never know, You just never know. And as I said, if you're interested in meeting someone online, it's quite possible through these normal ones: LinkedIn, um, Instagram, Facebook, maybe Threads, X, just by putting out good content and engaging with persons in a respectable manner with wisdom. All right. So if you have, the funds a little low, you can also check out these free social media platforms. So the last question is, what are some things I should know before I get into a relationship? And, I will say some of these things over and over again, but I think repetition is very powerful. One, before you get into a relationship, I would recommend being around married couples other than your parents so that you can get a sober view of marriage. Because some of us, maybe your parents did not have a good marriage, maybe your parents were not even married, and you are in a desert in this area. You just don't know what to expect, what even a good marriage looks like. And if your parents never had a good marriage, then you need, by the grace of God, to see what a good marriage is, what a sober view, not something that is just picture perfect, because marriage is not picture perfect. And pray that there'll be some married couples who would let you in their space so that you can see what a good marriage can look like and what you can trust God for and what you can work toward yourself. So the second thing is, if you're not ready for marriage, relax with being a single woman while at the same time practically preparing yourself for marriage. And when I think about not being ready for marriage, I'm not talking about you're not at the age of being married. I'm talking about readiness in terms of, like, if you do meet someone this year, you could possibly get married. If you do meet someone next year, you can possibly ready to get married. You don't have to finish your degree. You don't have to I don't know, just whatever it is. People have blocks. I have to do this first before I can get married. If you're in that situation where you cannot get married right now, maybe it's, some kind of arrangement, maybe it's a job, I don't know, then just relax yourself and practically prepare for marriage, and you just be friends with guys who might be interested in you and who you might be interested in. There's no need to rush the whole process if you're not in a position of readiness. Thirdly, you are still single when you are not married. Hey, I reached 800 subscribers. Yay, yay. Thank you, everyone, for subscribing to the YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Much love. So, you are still single and you can end the relationship when you feel that he's not the best fit for you. Now, I shared with you all probably many times about my first relationship, and I think I put myself in a bondage and in a I placed myself in a position where I was not willing to end the relationship, although I knew that it had some unhealthy characteristics to it. And because of my pride, because I wanted my first boyfriend to be end up to be my husband, and because of those kinds of limitations that I myself, those restrictions I put on myself, that this prevented me from ending the relationship much sooner than I should have ended it much sooner. Okay, so understand that if you are not married, you are still single, and if a relationship you go into one and it's not working out, do not feel that you have to stay to make it work. You do not have to stay to make it work. You are still single. Okay, you are still single. All right, any word of God, you're still single. And these days we don't, I mean, at our part of the world, we don't have betrothed, which is a very serious, it's much more serious than even an engagement. You have to give a writing of divorce and all of that. We don't practice that. So you are still single. And it's easy to get out of a relationship than get out of a marriage. So don't put yourself in a kind of a bondage that God didn't put you in. You can leave. Fourth point is, don't expect a man to be perfect. Allow yourself to see him in different situations so you can really know if he is the one for you. Okay. And that will mean situations among strangers, among your relatives, among his relatives, among friends, among other women, even other attractive women. You want to see how he behaves among these different, how he treats people who are poorer, who are less educated than him. How does he treat someone who is, in his eyes, might be better than him? Would he suck up to them and just forsake all his Christian values because he wants his boss to approve of him and start cursing in some, just because he's among his boss and of his colleagues and trying to impress them? You just need to be able to see him in different environments so that you have a good picture of the type of man that he really, really is. Because he might want to, yes, he might have a mask around you, and that's a natural thing because you're trying to impress someone that you want to be with. But among other people, he may not necessarily have that mask on. Right. So IPR says, I actually find it weird that people in committed relationships, not yet engaged, say they're not single, but I know it's just semantics. Yeah. It's there. I mean, we would say that in a committed relationship, you have a partner, you have a spouse, but you're really still single. Yeah, you're still single under God. All right. 5. No, I want to say one thing though, because say for instance, you are in a committed relationship with someone and you may be committed, moving towards engagement, or you're already in the courtship phase, and another guy comes into your life who is trying to win your heart. Now, at that point in time, if you are serious about marrying that other person, you cannot be playing games and entertaining a guy who um, doesn't respect your current relationship, because you have a certain level of commitment that you want to be faithful in that relationship, although you are still single in a sense, but you are moving toward marriage with one person. So you don't want to be considered a player because you have already have a certain level of commitment to someone and you have to honor your commitment. And although, so the only reason you will begin to entertain someone else is that if you have broken off that committed relationship or that engagement, then you could start engaging romantically with another guy. But it's very insincere and it's very it shows a lack of poor character if you are in a committed relationship, you are engaged to someone and then you're still flirting and having um romantic kind of relationship with another guy. No, I don't agree with that, even though I still as you're still single. But I'm just saying you're single in that. If you need to end a relationship, you could end it. All right. The four, this I think did I reach? Oh, the fifth point is don't date in isolation. From the very beginning, allow others to have input to determine if this guy is even a good fit for you. Tap into the collective wisdom of others, especially married couples and spiritually mature people who are growing in your walk with God. Those kind of couples that you want to get advice from. Even a married woman or married woman, find out and say, I like Sam. And what do you think about Sam? Bring Sam around your friends and your relatives and see if they like Sam for you. Because that you you might be so taken up with Sam that you can't see that Sam is an angry man, that Sam is prone to violence, that Sam has qualities that will not make him a good husband. All right? Or people might see that, okay, maybe he's just not necessarily the best fit for you. So do not date in isolation. Don't just think that it's my life, who I marry is my business. And that's just not wise. Involve others from the early stages of the relationship, from the body, from the time that you like the person likes you. Even if you don't know the person likes you and you like the person, find out from other people what they think about him, even from early stages. All right. 6, get your relationship advice from married people and in particular married women and not owned and whose marriages are healthy and not only from single women. Now I just find it's really kind of strange why so many single women look to other single women for relationship advice about marriage. They're not in a position to give that kind of advice. Maybe you could give some advice about maybe sexual purity, maybe how he treats you. But the wisdom will come from those who have walked the path already successfully. Okay? And you can learn from persons who have had divorces, etc., failed marriages. But for the most part, you want to be able to learn from persons who have the marriages that you want yourself. Okay. Now, if I want to be healthy, I am not going to ask advice from someone whose health is out of control because if they had known what to do, they would be doing it. And if they had the discipline, they really believed it, they would be doing it. So, take advice from married women whose marriages you admire and you think that, and pray about it. God will lead you to persons that you could be around to give you sound counsel. And the last point is establish your boundaries before you enter a relationship. And yeah, because at this point in time, before in a relationship, you are you have your head on in some ways. But if you don't establish your relationships, your boundaries, I mean, in terms of things that you would share with someone who's not your husband, things of like the kind of physical intimacy you're going to engage in, things like um, what you will do in terms of sharing physical space that you will not allow him to be in your apartment or your home or your bedroom alone. These things try to establish before, because when you are in his bedroom kissing, if that was not your boundary, then things could happen. I know of people, 1 minute they had this view, or they were single and over the summer they didn't necessarily have these boundaries and they end up having sex with their boyfriend. Next thing, like September, they're pregnant. So please come up with your boundaries before you enter a relationship. And I'm talking more in particular as pertains to sexual purity. Have it before, because when you're in the heat of making out, you're not going to come up with no boundaries at that point in time. That time, things have started, and the body is just made to continue. And it's just a cry out to God, Lord, help me. But it's just good, better to just have the boundaries, have the strong convictions. Tell the guy, these are my convictions, so that you have a better chance of maintaining those boundaries and not test test your strength. All right. So yes, IPR says true. LOL. And I think that is it for the question. What are some things I should know before I get into a relationship? And I'm sure there are other things. I mean, there's so many things to know. That's why Petals Bloom exists, so that you will have this whole wealth of information before you enter a relationship, before you enter courtship, and even before you get married. So I'm giving you um advice for all different stages. Total singleness, when you like someone, when you're in a relationship with someone, when you're courting someone. And I know I have married subscribers too who feel it's also helpful for them. So I'm giving you advice. People have given me good advice and passed it down to me, and I'm passing it on to you. Yes. Cassie says it's so powerful. I especially love the Titus tip. Thank you so much. IPR says, thank you so much, big sister Kim. Yes, that's what I am. I'm your big sister. And when I was reading, where was it? Titus. Just now, let me read it. Yeah, Titus here. I think I should bring it up on my screen because I have to put on my glasses, but my glasses are, where are they? All right, I don't know where I put my glasses. Probably my handbag. Anyhow, it says here that older men are to be sober-minded, dignified, self-control, sound in faith, in love, and in steadfastness. Older women, like me, likewise are to be reverent in behavior, no slanderers or slaves to much wine, right? So I should not be a drunkard either. They are to teach what is good and so train the young women to love their husbands and children, to be self controlled, pure, working at home, kind, and submissive to their own husbands, that the word of God may not be reviled. Okay. And then it talks about likewise the younger men. So I have a responsibility toward you all as younger women to teach you properly so that we can all live lives that glorifies God. And yes, so the choices that you make and I make will determine how people view Christianity. All right. So I want to be faithful. And I hope that you will also be faithful when it comes to your turn to teach the younger women in your circles. And all of us have younger women in our circles. Teach them, invest in them, spend time with them so that the world and TikTok and all it has some good influencers, but they have some negative influence. These are not the ones who will influence our next generation of young people. All right. Hey, Veronica, welcome. Um, Yes, you're welcome, everyone. So that is it. 8:59, a whole hour. So we answered 3 questions. If you need to review the recording, please do it. If you need to share with others, please do that. Yes, you have little IPR says, I have little nieces that I hope to influence well. And whether you believe it or not, you're influencing them even right now. We all influence persons just by being around them. So the choices that you make will impact their lives. All right. So let's grow in this area and influence for God's honor and God's glory. So that is the end. And thank you all very much for joining. I really appreciate your presence and your engagement. These lives would not be as fun if you all were not on. So I am so grateful for those of you who actually come on during the live to engage with me. All right. So Nisha says, thanks, Kimberly. Have a good night. Have a good night too. IPR, thanks, Kim. Again, Kim, have a good night, everyone. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.